Hey guys, George at SoundTraxx here. This week we're going to build a little bit on a previous video we did talking about momentum settings in our locomotives using Blunami app. Now this week we're going to show you how to use the Blunami app to set up the braking rates so that your brake sounds are more than just sound effects, like we've done in the Tsunami 2 in the past, but today we're going to show you how to do that in the app. So let's get started. Now guys, as we've mentioned in the past, the Blunami app gives you the ability to make all the settings that you want in your locomotive. Now, right here in front of me is one of our Blunami locomotives, and when I increase the throttle, you can see that it slowly accelerates, and then when we pull it back, now when we want to stop it, we cut the throttle, and you'll notice that it coasts for a little bit of time. Now this is the momentum that we've talked about in our past videos. Now today what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and set it up so that we can use the functioning brake sounds to actually function and bring the locomotive to a stop. So in our app, we're going to go ahead and push the gear down here at the bottom, which is our settings. So we push the gear. Now because the brakes are actually considered a sound, we're going to go and push the sound settings. Now the main sounds and other sounds and things like that kind of divided up, but the brakes being kind of an other sound, we're going to go ahead there. And this is where we're going to find the brakes. So the very first one here is dynamic braking. Now this has the same effect, but we're not going to use that in today's video. So we're going to scroll up a little bit, and we're going to come down here till we see train brake, apply, and release. Now this is where we can set our volume, add reverb, but the next one here at the bottom you'll see rate. And this is where we can determine how much braking application is set. Now, if you remember in our video in the past, we have an acceleration rate of 75, but a deceleration rate of 150. So what we do here in the app is we can take our rate. Now we can use this slider bar where we can move this up as high or as low as we need, or we can actually type in on our key. Now, just for example, we're going to go ahead and set a value of 50, and this is going to be our rate. Now, the menu right below it says result. Now it says make train stop slower. And if we click on it, you can see that our choices are make train stop faster or make train stop slower. Now, the reason you would want it to be slower is typically when you're using the train brake, you have thousands of tons of train behind you so that you can better simulate that using a variable momentum used with the brakes. So for this particular exercise, we're going to go ahead and have it make the train stop slower. So we're going to go ahead and click that again. Now the next one below that is independent brake apply. Now we have our volume settings, and again, we're not going to do that today. And then we have our rate. So we're going to do this. We're going to set this to a value of 50 also. But in this case, our result is going to make the train stop faster. And you can see that's already there. But if you wanted to change it, you just click on it. You can see how you have your choice. We're going to go ahead and make train stop faster. So now we're going to go ahead and go back into our operating session. So we're going to go ahead and move the locomotive over here a little bit. We're going to go ahead and get moving here a few speed steps. Now, as I've mentioned in the past, our sound menu comes out here on the side. So we've got our locomotive going here. We'll get it going a little faster. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to show the independent brake. Now, here you can see brake select, and it says independent next to it. So when we apply the brakes, we're going to go ahead and release. When I apply the brakes, you can hear the squeal, but you can see that it's actually stopping faster than it would if I had just cut the throttle. And once it comes to a stop. Now we're going to go ahead and release the brakes. And this way we can make sure we're running at the same speed. So now when we're going to change, we're going to select our train brake. So we click the brake select, and now it's on, and it's indicating a train. The train brake. So now we have our locomotive running at speed. Now when we set the brakes, you'll hear a different sound effect, but you can actually notice that now it's taking a little longer for the locomotive to come to a stop. And that's because that 50 is added to the value of 150 that we set in the brakes before, and so it gives a braking rate or slowdown rate of 200. So you can see that it takes quite some time to bring the locomotive to a stop. And that's basically how it works. And when we release the brakes, you hear the brakes set up and release. Now what's really fun is using this in a consist. Now I've got this P42 here that I've already set up with the same braking rates as everything set up in the Milwaukee Road. So what we're going to do is our Milwaukee Road here, this is going to be our lead unit, and we're going to build consist number A. Okay, now we're going to go over here to our Milwaukee Road. We're going to add it to consist A. And we've talked about this before. This is going to be a rear locomotive, and we have it facing forward. So now that I have my locomotives consisted, we're going to go ahead and go back to my Milwaukee Road. So we're going to go ahead and couple these guys up together. So now when I start moving my locomotives, I pull out my menu. We have our independent brake set. So when I set the brake effect, you can see that they both come to a stop together at the same time, and you can hear that the brake squeal stops. When I release, they both release the independent and they start moving. Now when I enable the train brake, we're going to go ahead with our locomotive stop. We're going to go ahead and turn on the function 12, which is our train brake select. So the train brake is selected. So what you're here now is the locomotive's revving up and the compressor cycling, and that's being done to charge the train line. So now we're going to go ahead and move our locomotives. We're going to get going. We'll release our brakes, and we'll get these guys going to speed, and then we'll apply our brakes, and you'll see how much longer that it actually takes to bring the train to a stop. Okay, so now our locomotives are up to speed. We're going to go ahead and apply the train brakes. So we hit our button. You hear the sounds play. Apparently our couplers are catching just off. But now you're going to hear that the brakes are actually bringing the trains to a stop about the same space. So they both stop together, and you can see how that works together using our consist. So we'll go ahead and reduce our throttle so that our diesel engines will come back down to idle. So you can see how playing with the brake is quick and easy using the Blunami app. Now the cool thing is you can do this with any number of locomotives. You can build a consist with any number of locomotives, and you can go through and set the braking rates any way you want. So if you want to set it up with a braking rate that will either add or subtract from the momentum, you can change and find out what works for you. Now for more information, please visit our website at SoundTraxx.com, where you can see information about the Blunami as well as check out the Blunami User's Guide. Be sure to download the app free from the Apple App Store.